opportunity to teach online was presented to me, and I thought it would be a great way to reach learners who maybe couldn't make it to campus.
When I earned my doctorate and came to NNU, it was a good fit for me to teach online.
I had taught this class for, I don't know, almost 20 years, face-to-face.
I am the chair of the psychology department, and we needed psychology classes.
I started teaching online when I moved back to Idaho.
I get to teach a course called Innovative Instruction online, and it talks about a systematic approach of bringing innovation into our schools and our teaching practices.
I also appreciate the opportunity to stay involved in my discipline, even though I'm retired and not actively on campus anymore.
My favorite class is actually the Human Diversity class, and when I first was asked to teach the Human Diversity class online, I was very reticent, actually, largely because Human diversity is such a tentative subject. You have to get in there and you have to make sure the students are getting it and those kind of things. And so I was really afraid that an online environment where you're hiding behind a screen, it just wouldn't work. So I did it, and I really thoughtfully, actually prayerfully put it online, and was blown away by the incredible insightfulness and depth that the students went into the class.
I will have conferences where the students are able to hop on during certain hours, and they can actually see my face, ask me questions directly.
If you think about your teaching practices intentionally and use intentional ways to engage those students online, it's rich conversation, it's deep discussion, and it's great connections that students can make.
There's a lot more to online teaching than just doing what you do standing up in a class.
One of the things that I like to do is I like to put them into discussion groups, and so I can mix up the people that they usually respond to and that kind of thing. It becomes a conversation.
They have to watch videos, but in the process of watching the video, they can comment on the video. And so there have been times where they'll be in the middle of a video and they'll have a discussion about what they're watching. They're reacting to the video with each other, which is just exciting and really amazing.
So I think the benefit for students is that compared to taking it face-to-face where we've got 50 or 60 students in the classroom, they get a very different, more individualized experience.
Something that I love about online teaching is it gives you the ability to reach students where they are at in life.
The program that I'm in, it's a graduate program, so most of my students have families of their own, are working a job that helps support their family.
For teachers, I think it gives us an opportunity to be able to reach students that don't have the traditional, typical student format.
I'm allowed to teach students that work in the New York City public schools. I'm allowed to teach students who work in Atlanta public schools, Houston Unified, in rural Kentucky. I have access to students from Japan and South Korea and China.
You have to be self-motivated, you have to be able to read and comprehend.
As the instructor, you need to think through your course from A to Z and make sure that you have clearly communicated expectations for assignments, for discussion boards, and working through the modules.
An ideal online class to me is one that the students are actively involved.
So there's a collaborative thing, I think, that happens that can't happen when you're just sitting in a class.
I think that both online and face-to-face are equally valid.
An ideal online class, I think, is one that intentionally builds community between students and then also between the instructor.
Frankly, like with my Human Diversity class, I'm just there to guide. There are times where all I have to do is keep things moving, and they take over, and it's a beautiful thing.
Well, my students would say that online classes are as rich as face-to-face classes.
I've taught both, and they're very comparable.
They get out of it pretty much what they put into it.
I think you get more contact, a more direct contact with the professor, whether you like it or not.
I believe that online classes can be just as rich as face-to-face classes. The activities that I choose to have the students do can enrich them maybe even more than a face-to-face classroom.
I don't think that the instruction's any different. I don't think the learning's any different when it's done well.
It's a smaller group of people, so you can't hide.
I think it depends on you as the instructor and what you do with your teaching, whether it's face-to-face or online.
What the students get is, I think, a deeper experience with the information.
You have an opportunity to grow in ways and really process material in a different way than you would in a face-to-face class.
I often say that I come to NNU during the day to go to meetings and then I go home to do my work.
There's a few times that I've been caught off guard with questions and I have to come back with answer after having looked into it, which is completely fine and acceptable. But the advantage with online teaching is they can ask me a question online and I can sit here and do my research and respond with a more thought out answer or response to their questions.
I think communication online is very important, and it's one of those cornerstones to online instruction.
I think there's a lot more face-to-face than people understand that there is.
My students have access to me as much as they would like to have access to me.
We do a lot of texting, a lot of emails, and they call me too. They know that I'm available via the phone.
I make myself available. They have my cell phone, they have my email, they know where they can reach me on campus.
I love freedom in online teaching. It gives the students freedom to plan their days like they want to plan them.
You get a chance to do classes when you need to and when you have time in your schedule.
Online teaching works really well with a retired person's schedule. I live around the corner from 4 grandchildren, so I have a lot of grandchildren time, which is a lot of fun.
2 weeks ago, my daughter had a gymnastics competition in Chicago, and I was able to take my laptop with me. I still was able to go on the trip with her, watch her compete, go back to the hotel room, answer any emails, get into the course.
I remember when I was learning online, I spent a lot of time at my son's baseball practices, reading journal articles and writing papers and that kind of thing. But I was present with him and still able to do my work.
We like to go camping, and I teach this class in summer school. So quite often I'm at a campground somewhere and I get up in the morning and have a cup of coffee and pull out my laptop and see what the questions were that came in overnight.
No matter where we are, as long as I have internet access, I'm able to provide the students that I have with the same caliber of teaching that I can do while I'm in my own home, which is fabulous.
So I am able to take my classroom with me wherever I go, and that is something that you just can't replace.